Hello vintage outboard motor fans, this is T-Mike here in South Louisiana making another video today. Today's video is going to be how to shoot treble on a 1963 10 horsepower Johnson QD-24. I'm going to walk Matthew through running treble on this. Matthew's my right hand man here at T-Mike's Vintage Outboards. He's doing really good on the restores, and now we're getting him into the repair work. So what are the three things it takes to get a motor running?
Compression, spark, and gas.
Compression, spark, and gas. So we checked the compression already on it with the customer. He just dropped it off. When he was standing there, we checked the compression and he had 80, 60, 60, 60, 60 on each side. That's good. So we checked the spark while the customer was here, no spark. So we've got compression. We're going to make the spark happen, and then we're going to check for fuel. And if it doesn't start, probably going to need a carburetor to clean it. So I'm going to walk you through Matthew doing this. So compression is good. Now we're going to check the wiring and the measurements on the spark to see if we can locate that trouble. We'll take the cover off, take the rewind starter off and the flywheel, and get into the magneto, and I'll film that and show you what we're finding. So if everybody's ready,
here we go.
Okay, so Matthew's removed the rewind starter and flywheel. Here's the ignition. Remember, we have no spark. So this is how you check the coils and the wiring on a magneto. So we're going to loosen all the leads on this terminal and this terminal, expose them up in the air. We're going to take this lead off the coil, off of this one, and this lead off the coil here, exposed in the air. And then we're going to measure the primary and secondary coils on both coils, and then we're going to measure out to the spark plug. Matter of fact, let's measure out to the plug right now and see if we're seeing the coils. So that is the top one, and we're seeing nothing. All right, move to the bottom. I was seeing 3 million ohms. Move it around in there. Okay, the bottom coil has 6,000 ohms. See, 6.4K. That's between 3 and 10,000, so it's good. But the top did not have, could never get a reading to see the coil through the spark plug wire. Never comes down to 1,000 ohms. It's still in the millions. Okay, so I'm suspecting a bad coil on the top. Let's take the leads off on the magneto and see what we got. All right, so Matthew's got all the wires exposed. So as you've seen in my other videos, the front coil is the top cylinder, back coil is the bottom cylinder. These two leads coming off of this coil are the primary winding. We're going to measure that. We want between 1 and 3 ohms. And then from either lead to the top boot should be the secondary coil, which is between 3 and 10,000 ohms. And then we do the same thing for the back. And this process is to narrow down either the coil or the wiring. Remember, we had no reading on the top, so let's check the top first. So Matthew is going to check across those two coil leads. Yeah, pull it off the ground, and put it on there. Yeah. Okay, so he's got his leads across 2 leads of the coil for the top, and we see 1.2 ohms, between 1 and 3 ohms. So the primary winding of this coil is good. Now take one lead off and go to the end of the spark boot, and that'll be checking the secondary coil. And as before, we can't get a 3 to 10,000 ohm reading out of that wire at all. So I'm suspecting either the secondary winding is bad, or the on this coil is bad, or the wiring is bad. All right, so we got the magneto in the shop, and Matthew's taking the 2 coils off. Now let's measure them. So we're going to measure the primary coil, which will be the 2 spade tips. And it measures 1.3 ohms. That is between 1 and 3 ohms. Now take either lead off and connect it to where the spark wire goes in. And voila, 6,200 ohms. That coil is good. Let's check the other coil. All right, 1.2 ohms, between 1 and 3 ohms. Now we'll go from either lead to the output of the spark wire, which is the secondary winding, 6,100 ohms, which is between 3 and 10,000 ohms. So our coils are good. The spark wires have to be the problem, are bad. So we're going to replace the spark wires and give you another measurement. Here we go. Okay, so Matthew decided, since we were getting some crazy readings on the spark plug wires and the coils were good, that we were going to just go ahead and do a complete rebuild on it. I used tune-up kit 18-5006, and we used the same coils, but put new condensers and new points and new spark plug wires. And now Matthew's going to tell you how he's going to check the wiring now.
So I'm going to put one lead on here, and you can put the other one. So this is the bottom, so that's the top because it has the mark. Put it on the end of the wire.
What do we have, Matthew?
15,000.
Which is between 3 and 10,000. So that wiring is good. All right, let's check the top.
$6,260.
6,260 ohms. That's between 3 and 10. So now we have good wiring, good coils. We have new points. We're going to use a locator ring to set the coils in the right position. We're going to mount it on the magneto, and we're going to put the boots on it, and we'll see if we get spark now. Here we go. Okay, so Matthew's rebuilt the magneto. Let's see if he's got spark now. Oh yeah, one more time, Matthew. Oh yeah, got good spark. All right, so now we got compression and we got spark. What else we need?
Fuel.
Fuel. So what we're gonna do?
We're gonna connect the fuel pump, the fuel tank to the motor, and see if it'll run.
All right, here we go with that. Okay, so Matthew's got it all spark plugged back together. He's pumping the bulb, pulling out the choke, giving it full throttle. Full.
It's not going anymore.
We'll put it in gear if you want to get more throttle. There you go. All right, so we got it in gear and full throttle. We'll see if it'll start. Give it 3 or 4 cranks, Matthew. All right, so 3 or 4 cranks and it don't even start to turn over. I suspect what we need to do now is what, Matthew?
Clean the carburetor.
Yeah, we got compression and spark. This motor's been sitting for years, and we can see in the glass bowl how dirty the gas is. So Matthew's gonna clean the carb now, and we'll see what we get. All right, so Matthew has cleaned the carburetor, and we took it out and put it in the water barrel, and just to play around, we see if it will start. Matthew started that thing first crank. So let's see it start, Matthew. All right, so it runs good. Now we gotta dial in the carburetor to make it run good and everything. But the point is, we got it running. So that'll be the end of this video. Matthew, summarize what happened when the guy brought the motor here.
So we checked compression, and it had good compression, 60-60. And then we checked spark, and it didn't have spark. So we decided we would rebuild the magneto. And after that, it still wouldn't start, so we cleaned the carburetor, and that ended up being the problem.
Awesome job. Matthew's first repair job he did by himself. So everybody remember, here at T Mike's Vintage Outboards, we're doing it
one motor at a time.
See y'all next video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Here at T Mike's Vintage Outboards, we're doing it one motor at a time. Please click on subscribe. I guarantee to provide weekly videos. Merci beaucoup and laissez les bon temps rouler.